Okay, so we've got Joel McHale. Joel McHale, a nice chat with Joel.
Joel McHale. I did a pilot once a little while back, and Joel McHale was in it with Ken Young, who are really good friends, like best friends.
Oh, yeah.
I just think for best friends forever.
I know
anyway,
Ken Jeong, sure.
We all know Joel. We all know Ken. Joel's a great stand-up. We see him at the Comedy Store.
We talk about Community, this show Community he did forever. He did we talk, of course, ask about Chevy Chase because that ties into us a little bit. And yeah, good stories. Guy's got good stories. And he also likes international scouts. Do you know that, Dana? Because where I get my Land Cruiser done,
Right.
he buys up a lot of scouts, and they're all old ones and very cool ones.
And he was one of the first. He did a show where you make fun of videos.
Oh, Talk Soup.
And Talk Soup.
Yeah, it's great.
And what's kind of interesting, without giving it away, I'll talk about he had a little bit of dyslexia, and he was reading teleprompters and the struggle and the challenge of that. Right. But that show is huge and went on for years. And he now has a new show,
Animal Control. And it's, I think it's just started its third season, and it's, I just read a really nice thing about it in the paper. So Animal Control, you know him for sure when you see him, and we had a nice chat. So let's listen up. Enough about us.
Pretty exciting. That beard is rocking,
Look
man.
at his fucking cool hair, too. I hate this guy already.
Look at all the transplants, guys. This can be yours. Literally.
No, it cannot. That's too good.
You got to have some donors if you're going to go.
God
no, that is fucking Trini Lopez, early Tom Jones.
Who are your hair donors? Charo?
When the Russian Olympic doping thing hit, I was able to reap the benefits because they had all this extra tranquilizer sitting around, guys. But Parso Bohibi, he's in Sherman Oaks. He's a wizard. This is my great grandfather. That's would have been me.
He's showing a picture of a goddamn
cue really?
Ball.
A cue ball.
Might as well be George Costanza.
And you're like, well, who has the greatest hair in Hollywood? I think it was, what did Rob Lowe say?
Now.
Rob Lowe said Richard Gere, I think, in the history of Hollywood.
Joel McHale.
I think it's Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
I mean, if
Keanu's
Bridges. Yeah.
Can I make my face redder?
That's just the Tito's wearing off.
Everyone says on the YouTube comments, "Hey, Spade, rough night." I'm like, no, this is just it, guys. They're like, geez, what a disaster.
Well, it's Northern European. You get a little rosacea as you get
I don't
older.
think I'm red, Heather. Am I in real life? My fucking dad was kind of red, but he was such a goddamn drunk.
Yeah, but you're still at this age. Like if we all went back to our high school reunions, just an impromptu high school reunion, we'd all be like, "Oh, we're doing great."
Yeah, you're right. Me and my buddies from high school don't look so fucking tragic. So we see. By the way, when I was and back in Arizona, Sir Joel and these two old dudes walked up to us. And I'm like, oh, look at these broken down motherfuckers. And they go, hey, we were a year under you guys in high school at Saguaro. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Wait, we're all around the same? Oh, my God.
Well, they also were sitting in the Arizona sun, right? They were
Everyone lays out every day. Yeah. We're no sunscreen. That's for girly men.
I talked to a guy at an event in the recent past for about 20 minutes. And had no idea who he was. He's in show business, but he quietly put on 50, and he became I don't know why it's always quiet, but it was unrecognizable. And then someone told me later, and you kids out there can guess who it was, but it was not Joel or Ken, his best friend Ken Young.
Who was it? Let me guess. No.
Yeah, I like where's who was? Let's do it.
We'll save it. No, I can't because it would be mean to the person.
I saw a guy that loudly put on.
But I think Martin Sheen got over it in a second. No, it was not Martin Sheen.
It wasn't Ken Jeong. He's on.
No.
He was born on Ozempic.
That guy's fit. He can still high jump over 6 feet.
Yeah. No. Do you guys know who Nathan Fillion is?
Yeah.
Very extremely handsome man from Edmonton. And he continues to look great. But he, like starting around like late 30s, 40s, he did put on 50 pounds easily.
Quietly.
Still looked great.
Oh, really?
And then he lost it all. I don't know how he did it, but he lost it all. And everyone's like, you look great. And he literally was like, if you just carry an extra 50 for a decade, and you lose it, then you get this new blank check to look great. Because everyone's like, hey. And I was like, oh, you could just hang in there for that 10 years.
That guy pulls wool. Even when he's 50 plus over.
No, you come in a boozed up alcoholic at the 40th anniversary, and then for the 50th, you just go clean for a decade.
Yeah.
And you got all the
Nate Bargatze says he just tells people, even though he's kind of fat, he goes, I just tell people I lost 300 pounds, and they go, holy shit, you look great.
Nate Bargatze's not fat.
But he says to people, so they go, oh, wow. Well, now this is pretty good for you. And he's like,
I saw Def Leppard play. Yes.
So did we.
Thank you. This is 10. They opened for Kiss at the Forum. And
open for?
I know. I felt,
Whoa.
I was like, I feel like
that's the story.
That's a pick'em. We got to interview Joe Elliott for an hour. What a kick in the pants that guy.
Well,
what were you saying?
One of them, someone was like, well, Def Leppard, they're on this comeback because one of them had cancer. And and you get up there and then you start watching them. I was like, which one has cancer? And there was like the three of them were bloated and bad hair dye. They're all like, they're just like, blah. And then the guy with cancer, just skinny and short hair, just like full of energy. They're like, he's doing great now. And I was like, oh, wow, that really shows you.
I think it's sad when there's like a quartet of singers or whatever, and then they eventually one by one pass away. I was in Vegas once, and ladies and gentlemen, the Platter. And it was like such a bring down.
I saw
that's an old joke.
Fleetwood Mac when it was down to Stevie Nicks, two guys from Los Lobos, and a contest.
And the name is
it was
the Beach Boy.
Just Josie and
and some friends.
I remember in Seattle, it's at Steppenwolf, no original members. And I thought, what happened?
What's going on?
What is the point? Well, then it's what do you call it? A tribute band. It's that point, right?
It's really just a cover band, which is kind of good. I saw Led Zepp again, or one of these, and the cover bands where I didn't think it was really Led Zeppelin, but I said, okay, at least I'll just go hear the Led Zeppelin song, second one, a cover band, right? And they were like, here's one that no one knows. I don't even think Robert Plant remembers. I'm like, no. Guys, here's the deal. I want to know every motherfucking... And then they weren't doing hits. They go, we're not here to do the Zeppelin hits. I go, okay, I think you don't understand what's going on. I paid $3, and what I want...
$3 at the Vaseline Room in Reno or something?
I think it was at Sharky's, that place.
I like a tribute band that's like, we're not playing the hits.
Yeah. What is your only job?
And you're not playing to a crowd.
We're going to play a new song. Wow.
No, it was at Canyon Club, Joel. Do you know what Canyon Club is in the Valley?
Yes.
Oh, God. Not a great gig.
Actually, I've played Canyon Club, so I can't.
I played it. That's why I'm saying I didn't.
I saw Foreigner there.
I bet it was great.
It was actually 3-er. Because one guy didn't show up. Yeah.
My friend,
because the joke's so bad, you go like this.
Oh no, my friend Boyd saw Rick Springfield there, and he said Rick Springfield walked out and said, "Fuck you, I'm 75," and then just went right into Jesse's Girl.
That's the best opening ever. Let me do a quick Dennis Miller. This is 20 seconds per this topic. Playing a casino in San Bernardino, and in the casinos, they're all in the bar for the longest time. Then they come in. So we came out like 2 minutes before we go on. It's 1,000 seats, not one person sitting there. And Dennis goes, Christ sakes, Carvey, did we just turn into Three Dog Night over here? Sorry, I just wanted to share that with Joel because I knew he would chuckle.
That you actually taught me, Dana, years ago. You were like, yeah, you ever go to those gigs where you haven't done stand-up in a while? And then you just go into your act and you're barely holding onto the roller coaster as it's going. And I was like, oh, I'm so glad you said that.
Someone else has done it.
The more famous you get, your stand-up gets shitty for a while. Like probably when you're full-time on Community, you're doing less reps, and then your price is going up and up, right?
Yeah. They get a lot it's a lot of talk about greatest hits.
Yeah.
Well, we know the old days, Joel, where you're not that old, but
yeah, I'm old.
When Dana was headlining,
you could still get carded if you do a little Grecian right there.
I was out there with some
Spade.
guys that were just doing the same 45, not even an hour, just the same 45 on the dot. Then I'd see him a year later, same 45, 3 years later. Because they just had mailing lists and stuff. There was no TikTok or YouTube or not that many specials at all, right? There's only a couple.
Do you ever get like, as you said, like the bands come out, they play all their hits, and that's what everyone wants to hear. And I'm like, but I don't think comics can do that.
I know. I do a mixture usually because some people go, "Oh, you didn't do the one joke of yours I like."
Yeah.
I am very close to doing a one-man show where I do quick change. Church lady, Hans.
Oh yeah, you go
Garth.
You kill it.
I do that like Ed Sullivan. The person goes behind the
partition,
the panel, and then comes out as a totally new character in like 1 second.
You've reached you both are reached that legend status, so you can
bring me in there.
Thank you.
But you should then like do 3 characters that everybody knows, and then throw in a character that you'd be like, and this one was from SNL's 1986 special, and then just be a character that you've never done before, and be like
deep cuts, and it's like this got to read through, and that was it. He's got that animal control thing in the back.
Animal
corner.
Control shows don't get 3rd seasons anymore.
What the fuck?
Well, this is a fucking hit in 2024. A 3rd season.
I always say, we've done 30 total episodes, which in the old days,
that's a new world.
In the old days,
that's 1 season.
Yeah. So hey, divide up the pie however you like. That's great.
Let's call it.
When we did Rules of Engagement,
seasons.
Dana, at the end, it was always 22 episodes. And the way we whined about it was, because you can always find a way to grouse in the set, is first season of Rules of Engagement, we did 22 and we debuted huge. And then there was a fucking strike. And we came back and we never got the momentum. Our fault, I guess.
Damn those workers.
It was only 13 pickups.
And
so I did 13. And your whole year is over because you can't do anything. You can't book anything else. You can't get a new show, and you just wait. And on May, they go, we might bring you back. And if we do, it'll be for a measly 13. We'd do less if we could. And I'm like, God dang. The second we got to 100 episodes, they fired us that day. They're like, that's all we need. Bye.
Joel, who are you following? What's the show?
How are you? What is this magic?
Who am I following? Oh, I thought you meant like in my political life. The Proud Boys. No.
Yeah.
You had me. I was like,
they have a great TikTok.
Who
are you on? What night are you on, and what time coming up?
We're on. I think we're on. It's January 2nd. As hangovers are just being cured.
A perfect day.
Yeah. It's all. I think that's a Thursday after Hell's Kitchen or Next Level Chef with Gordon Ramsay, who's always ratings gold. And then Dennis Leary has a new comedy that is on after us.
I know all about it.
Really?
Yeah.
They're pairing. Oh, what is his show? Because
I'll
write it down.
It's
called
Dutch.
What's the one?
It's called. Nope. I'm getting there.
Really great. Not get me
I'm
to
telling you, Going Dutch.
Going Dutch. Yes, it's about an army base in Europe that is only for supplies. And so they're like the great distributor to all the bases. So there's no action at all. And Danny Pudi is in it from Community.
That's what it says, yeah.
And the family is slowly coming back. So we're very lucky because Fox is hung in, you hear all these stuff, but they hung in there with the show. And not compared to Community, but like on Community, but we were always on the bubble, and Fox, like, they like the show. They're like, we're hanging in there. And now it's slowly built up on Hulu, and they've taken their time. So they did the thing that old comedies used to do, where they would take care of it and nurture it and water it, and so it's gotten better, and it's really enjoyable.
It's nice they do what they say, because not all these networks, they can tell you it's great until the day they chop your head off and you go, oh. But it's just a biz. But I think they add in Hulu. There's some reason you're doing well. You know, they calculate everything together, some metric, something means it's working.
AI.
It is.
Analyze.
It's interesting that not to get nuts, but they like how Netflix, like Friends and The Office, those are, and Suits of all, they're all, and same thing with Community. We didn't become a hit until after streamers came out, and and these shows have 100 or 150 episodes, and people see them like comfort food.
And you were NBC, and how many episodes?
We were NBC. We were canceled after our 4th season, and then brought back on Yahoo Screen. What's that? It was a short-lived streaming service that Yahoo.
That's a calculator.
Yeah, it went from the biggest
Your calculator app,
biggest website to weather, and to just a little weather app after. But they literally blamed us for the downfall of Yahoo Screen, which I'm like, I brought down a streamer, and then that was it after 6 seasons. So we did like 130.
So you had 130 to sell.
It kind of, I don't know the word cult, but it has legs. I mean, because I don't think anything kind of like Community. It was unique,
Yeah.
Just its vibe and the way it was written and the people in it. So it's kind of cool that it lives on. And
yeah, Dan Harmon is a freaking true genius. And I think, David, you probably know him. I would think.
I know him a little bit, and
I know him. I did a thing with him for, I think, National Geographic Channel, where I played JFK or something. I can't remember. It was shot all over at that studio.
Sounds fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was, he's very, very smart.
Joel, are these Chevy stories? We had him on the show. Is it more rumor, or was he a bit of a pickle?
And how I put it this way too. I want to think. How did you think about Chevy during the show, and now how do you think about Chevy now?
Oh, well, I've never answered any questions about him, so this is
I like it.
This is
this is SNL related, so it's a little.
I get started with my theory, because we had him on, and I kind of figured him out right before we came on, and then it kind of made sense to me that he has an impulse to say the thing you're not supposed to say, even if it goes territory that you cannot even comprehend he's going there. But he has an impulse to do that. So right before he came on our show, he was at David's house. I just sort of went with it, and he would do all this shock stuff, and I just started finding it so funny because I saw what he was doing.
If you're not ready, but
if you don't get defensive, it's like a swing and a miss. If someone just laughs,
all that. I would agree with everything on that plane.
Okay,
and then,
but you worked with him a lot more than I.
But like at 6 a.m, as we're all stumbling in there, hoping to make our 15-hour day, I guess this is a separate thing, but he didn't want to be there for that long. Like it was those hours and that work was too much for the man. He didn't want to be there, and so we would have to find a way to shoot him out. And I'm not, Chevy, if you're listening or watching, I don't think you would disagree with any of this. And the man had a lot going on all the time, and he could definitely be disruptive, and he definitely didn't like it when some people were funnier. And he kind of lose his mind a little bit. And then, he was fired from the show famously. And everyone was like, he's everything. Like when he was good, it was magic, and he's so good. And if we watch those first few seasons, he's so funny. But the guy was his own self-sabotager all the time, and he would always be disruptive and all that stuff. So I think in doses like you're saying, like if he's throwing out he also always had to find, if things were going well, he would find a way to slow that down.
Right.
He would throw some wrench in, and so I mean the guy, his reputation precedes him, and I haven't spoke to him since the show ended, but I did play him in a movie, and I guess I called him to tell him that. I'm sure
he'd
he's
love that.
Yeah, there's that.
That's weird. You played Chevy in a movie after Community.
Yeah, very strange. Just someone who does a lot of arms workouts. He's always been. Yeah, he was always the focus of attention whenever he was in the room.
All those picadillos or ticks, whatever you want to call them. We've worked with people in show business where it can be cute and funny, but then if it's actually part of a job, it's a completely different idea. When something, forget Chevy, just if anybody is actively just being difficult.
Well, if you don't love coming to work, that's hard. If you get nervous at work, you're going, someone's coming in today and it's going to be tough. And you're like, these days are so hard anyway, and no one believes it. But if you're in it and you're up at 6 and leaving at 8:30 at night, you're like, we have no life. Just get your
single
lines
camera,
memorized.
a half hour. I mean, that's a workload.
And we shot those shows like they were movies. They weren't shot in a documentary style thing. So none of it was that the loose. It was all cinematic, and we shot those like paintball things and all those kind of epic looking things for half hour. And we knew Chevy had obviously dealt with things like that before because he was a gigantic movie star.
Yeah.
All through the 80s, but he had, and then there'd be other times when we physically push each other around, so that also happened. And I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't want to try to fight you. I mean, I think you're probably I thought. You don't want
one of the strongest guys in Hollywood. I don't know.
Don't. Yeah, it all. When we look back on it, I'm like, what? That was just mayhem as we were trying to, get this shit made.
Just do a cute show.
Yeah, and then I have that thing of like people like, there's that thing because during the time it was during the times when you didn't say anything, where it was like, just keep doing what you're doing because it's working, and we didn't want to rock the boat. And
for sure.
So we I remember multiple people above us going, yeah, and he's all ours. And, and the show was working. So it was, you
don't want them to say, let's get rid of the show.
We feel the stress is coming over the.
I was like, I don't know if I talk to him again, I'm sure he would be like, fuck you. So I'm like, all right, great. But he'd probably say that anyway, even if he was in love.
He might surprise you. I don't know, but yeah, that's I've had experiences like that, Mickey Rooney. But anyway, it doesn't really matter, Mickey Rooney. But God rest his soul. But yeah, he was.
Well, putting it in the Mickey Rooney sort of analogy.
I love any podcast that mentions Mickey Rooney. Yeah. Go ahead.
He's so happy right now that his name got mentioned.
Mickey Rooney, number one star in the world, right? Legitimately.
Yeah.
Chevy. Time Magazine, funniest man in America, and then movie after movie after movie. Tall, great looking. Goldie Hawn said when I saw him, I was like, this is a formidable person. He comes in, and at some point, he's got to feel like I'm on a sitcom or I'm on whatever, and everyone's getting laughs around him, and usually they would write that out. They would just be like, I'm the guy that scores, and then here's the movie around me. Everyone can be okay. And so there's something to that. I remember George Segal. I would think that with George Segal when I was on Just Shoot Me, because he's so great. And one time he goes, "You little fuck, I used to work with Elizabeth Taylor." I go, "I know, dude. This is."
No, he was huge.
We would laugh about it because,
70s.
And he would yell it to the audience. He'd point to me and go, "I used to work with Elizabeth Taylor. Now I work with this fucking asshole." But we had a great time.
But don't you think that he
loved it. He was happy about it. He was happy.
Right. Is that they didn't realize that when everybody's funny, that makes everything funny. That makes the whole thing better. And rarely, like on a show, I don't know, I'm trying to think of some example of some super funny show. 8 is enough, let's say. No.
Right.
And where they go, oh, everyone was funny on that show except for that one guy. It's like, no. The whole, because everyone was scoring, everyone
we need a straight man for this man. Everyone's valuable. And George said,
Like
we had all done. Just Shoot Me wasn't a magnanimous hit, but it stayed on for 7 years. That we would all. I think what happened, we all had downtime where it wasn't working for a little bit. So we all were like, hey, we're all lucky to be here. So it was a lot less fighting. I can't remember any, because we thought, we know what it's like when it doesn't work. It's not all given. If you're on Friends and it's your first show you get and you're a superstar, a worldwide star, you can't even imagine, what if I did a show that didn't work? You can't imagine what it's like to just get pilots canceled. So when you've had ups and downs and something works, you go, oh, we are lucky. Let's do not mess this up.
Yeah.
And that's probably what you were doing.
But it sounds like there was nobody on Just Shoot Me that was disruptive.
Right. I'm saying is that you had that. And so you don't want to mess the show up. So you're probably not telling everybody like, hey, we got to get rid of this. What can we do? Because they might say, this whole show is a problem. Let's just get rid of it. And you're like, no, I like it. I want to be here.
Do you think that when Chevy came through with Community, like how much has changed now with live streaming shows? Because you'll just see full-blown movie stars, except Tom Cruise, who's one of my favorites, doing a live streaming series. And it's completely
blurry line.
Accepted. It's not like, oh, what happened to his movie career?
There's more of those than
watching
movies.
live.
Yeah. I mean, that's also why, like, when Snoop and Jamie Foxx and Dwayne Johnson and Ellen all did game shows, and that blew away the, oh, you don't have to, there's not a tie, like you're in that lane now. It's just all the lanes blurred. And then, then the streamers had all the money, and like Squid Games, if like no one cared, they're like, oh, it's just great. And I was like, if you told an executive 5 years ago that a foreign language murder game show drama and Kevin Costner would be the biggest things on TV, they'd be like, Kevin Costner in a Western? I don't think so. That's not going to be a hit. That Westerns are dead. It's all science fiction. Oh, and people are not going to read subtitles. Forget it. And then the biggest things on the planet.
That's part of the fun, is that no one can't figure out showbiz. That's it's part of the crazy lottery. It's like, you go, I could make it overnight. You just don't know. It could be in a show that blows up.
There's 5 billion bits of digital information to watch right now, globally, between YouTube and then all the rest. So it's 5 billion. So I'm just saying it's different. That's my point. My thesis is that showbiz has changed. You can do commercials. You can talk about your brand and being in the marketplace with your brand. Everyone can do commercials. Everyone can do anything.
Yeah, really.
Everyone can do Masked Singer. Huge hit. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Which you've been on.
Yes.
Ken.
Well, yeah. Ken caught, once again, those guys caught lightning in a bottle. And when I was first on that show, I was like, I don't really understand what the rules are. Are we guessing who they are? Or are we telling you, are they good at singing? Which one is it? And they were like, absolutely. And I was
are we
like,
saying good costume? What are we saying? By the way, I like the guesses. It's like, is it Lady Gaga? Is it Adele? I think it's President Obama. And then they're like, nope, it's Corey Feldman. And they're like, oh, I knew it. It's the kid from 8 is Enough.
That's when,
twice.
They had, but no, it was from, they always throw out those, they throw out those crazy guesses.
Big names.
And then I would like it just one time to be like, oh, it is Prince Harry. Holy shit. They got him. And
Meghan Markle, they play like a horse character, and she's the front, he's the back, and they pop out. That would be great. That would be really good for ratings. But as my mom would say, they should do that. They should do that.
Ken is so he's like the secret weapon on that show, where he's so freaking funny on it, and everyone's really great, and Robin Thicke, his great. They had to throw his ear is so good that they have to throw static at him, and Nicole Scherzinger when she was there, or they can just listen to a person's voice, and they will point out some obscure singer from like, oh, that guy's from Northern Italy. He's a big pop star in Austria, and both he and Nicole could decipher that, and so they had to throw anyway. But and then Ken would just say the funniest thing.
When I talked to Robin
Don't tell
Thicke
Ken I
backstage, he said, "I can
I'll call
tell
him right now.
you can't sing just by talking to you because I hear your voice." I was like,
Wow. You want a fun fact, David Spade?
"Yeah,
Bruce Lee went to the University of Washington, my alma mater.
where you did? Oh my God! Don't make me pick up
Really?
this
Yeah.
research." Bruce Lee,
I
was he
watched
nice?
Enter the Dragon last week.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Do you have any classes with him?
No, he was much older than me. How dare you?
Oh,
but when everybody says like, you went to Harvard? Like how many presidents? And I was just like, nobody has a better.
Yeah,
I was like, Bruce Lee, name somebody better.
Get somebody cooler. I'm going to jump around here. You were once quoted as saying, which is a great beginning. Now, when we talk about SNL sometimes in the show, you say, I think you say, because you're the only one that wouldn't love the cue cards. I love the cue cards.
Oh, no, bad. I would, the anxiety that I'm feeling right now.
Of hearing about it.
I don't know how, like, I think, I was talking to, Bill Hader about, I was like, I don't know how you do it, man. He goes, I'm super dyslexic. And if they change a single word, I flip out. And Stefan, obviously that was improvised, which was pretty incredible. But no, you got, I still to this, when I see people doing the Weekend Update or those things, that I've gotten so much better at it because of the soup for so many years. But that live audience with cue cards flying with multiple people, I would be like, oh boy, here we go.
Well, there are a lot of cuts between Dress and Air, and you don't get a chance. You're just going to see it on the card and pretend
They
you're
yell
not
on the way
reading
out. It'll be on the cards, and you're like,
on the
this is not
card, and
good
we're skipping
preparation.
that, and you just go from here to here. So it is crazy. But just for a second, as it leads into this discussion, how many years did you do the soup? Because that's another part of your resume.
Oh, yeah, 12 years.
Soup's great.
And did that break some? That also was kind of fresh.
Did
or
it ever
new at
not
the
do
time.
well? I always thought Talk Soup and the soup would always.
You could
hit.
always just.
Oh yeah, it did not well.
Really? I always thought
well,
I loved it. I thought everyone liked that one.
I thought it was extremely entertaining, no matter whenever you clip through and you saw it, because it's pop culture and quips and.
Yeah,
visual.
no, we had a good time, but then I think then in 2015, E was at that point not the most well organized network on the planet. This is now almost 10 years ago, but they signed me to a new 2-year contract in August and then canceled the show in late October. And that was great. And they didn't realize my contract was guaranteed. No joke.
No joke. I'm not kidding around here.
And they had to pay your ass.
So I
They
got
should have
paid.
just done it.
But it was that time when the waterfall of streaming was just butting into linear television, and no one television viewing was falling off. Streaming was coming on slowly but surely, and they didn't know. They were like, "What's the problem? Maybe it's the show's fault." And that was you would always blame, and that kind of brought it into the barn. Also, they had moved our night and increased the number of repeats, and they were always telling us, "Oh no, there's so many people watching. There's even more people watching it now." And then they canceled. I was like, why say? I was like, don't try to make me feel better. Just tell me what's going on. And so that was on for 12 freaking years, and couldn't believe it. And that was one of those cases where I was like, well, this is what happens. You get a television show and it's on, it works. This is how it works. Right. And then,
what's so hard?
Nobody gets 12 years.
Nobody gets 12 years.
Does that exist out there? Is that on Hulu or Netflix? The soup.
No, because all those clips were news clips so we just you could use them for free for 1 week, and then you had to pay for them all. And so I was told there's a couple of people that saved, like 400 episodes. I was like, I don't know who those people are, but I haven't seen them. It is weird to go back and look at it. My kids look at me and go, what are you doing? Is that you? And I'm like, yeah, that's what your dad used to do before he had hair. And
did you stick with the crew laughing and not an audience?
We put out folding chairs for about 20 people because we wanted to keep
Lo-fi.
it low. And then at one point, E wanted to do it daily. And I was like, we shouldn't do that because what if it doesn't work? And then it was going to become more of a talk show. And I was like, let's keep it to just clips.
The way it is. Yeah.
Slightly dirty jokes.
Yeah.
And and then they were like, then Daniel Tosh came on and he was such a monster hit. And the E was always like, at one point, there was the president who ended up canceling the show. She had this big meeting with me and she was like, have you thought about putting clips on from the internet? And then I go, like we do every week for the last 5 years. Yeah. And she was like, oh, you do? Okay, good. All right. End of meeting. And I was like, she's not even watching the show. She doesn't.
Wow. That's a perfect executive.
Yeah.
Don't read.
You should be like the show.
Don't listen. Just have an opinion.
Is doing your show. You're like, yeah, we're trying to be like the new show that's really our show. Yeah, they're all very blurry. I mean, it's a format that works, and you guys do it, Tosh do it, and then they just go, oh, we'll watch the new version, and he's funny.
And now
so
Rob Dyrdek has been doing it on MTV for forever.
Yeah, for sure. And same thing.
So let me ask you, I'm just curious, you were reading a teleprompter, right?
I was, but it was for the crew. The first year, nobody watched. And because we were on at 10 o'clock on Fridays, it was a desert. And this is, you kids listening or watching this, there was a time when you could only tune in for your show and you missed it if that didn't.
Yeah.
And we began to beat a rerun of Sex and the City, and they were over the moon. And the show was so cheap at that point that they kept us on. But it would take me, for 22 minutes of jokes and clips put together, it would take me 4.5 hours to finally kind of do it.
Oh, horrible.
Oh, there was a crew guy that quit. He was just like, this guy can't read. And that's how he talks.
We should be in and out in real time.
I love a crew guy. This kid can't read.
What's
happening?
Well, of course, we hire somebody who can't read to read. And so that lowered, my anxiety lowered as I got better at it. And then I began to not care. And we would do the show live. And I would advertise that I had dyslexia, and I'd be like, I don't know what's going to happen. I can't really read, but we're doing it live. And so that, I mean, of course, the best therapy for my dyslexia was doing a live show on television. So it was an odd, but it, anyway, but that's, yeah. So to this day, like, I'm not the greatest reader, but I'm so much more relaxed at it. And I just kind of go, it's just going to be a thing, and that's how it is. And it's not going to, you'll just have to, it all worked out, thank God. But, yeah, when you guys just I know going back to it, but when like reading, like if I were to see a cue card with, like, to see to see two jokes on a card at once and be like, here comes that one, here comes that one. And I know what's coming, so that means I'm ready to talk to whatever. I would be like, woo! I would need, that's always.
It's a bit much. I did it recently on SNL, and it was a lot. There's a lot of notes in your head. You've got guests and moving and introducing and landing jokes, and a lot of times there's 3 jokes in one paragraph, and they're not like delineated. It's just, but I do think what's great is like I have two older brothers that had dyslexia, but it wasn't diagnosed back then.
No, they just
were
called you an idiot.
You're dumb.
They were in the red book or the yellow book rather than the blue or green, whatever it, and kind of felt sorry for them, but it was just nothing to do with their intellect at all. So it's great that they can go, no, this is how your brain works. Doesn't mean you're not Einstein. So
it's I don't know. And then the pressure of, so this is a lot. This is you're on the most popular live show of all time. You auditioned to get on this thing, and then it's like, we'll see how you do. If you score in this next 15 seconds, you'll probably get another season, or you're just completely off the show. And that's like the NFL.
Yeah,
that's right.
To this day, like there are cast members, I'm like, I can't. Yeah, I mean, but like cast members that got fired, I was like, what? But they're school. So it's a long. You've been all over this for many times.
There's all kinds of reasons why things happen, and some of it is just whimsy and luck, and then people can last 2 or 3 years, and then something. I don't know how it all really.
I was on Kevin Nealon's podcast, and
hiking. We'll start in just a second. Anyway, we're trying to do a little Kevin Nealon.
Hey, Joe, what are you
hiking with Kevin. Let's give him a plug. Hiking with Kevin.
He's he is, but he was saying that right before, because he had that character, Mr. Subliminal.
And Mr. Subliminal.
Yeah, it was like the first time he was doing it, and he was just about to, and Lauren got behind him. Like it's counting down from the commercial, and Lauren just goes, "Are you sure this is what you want?" And I was like, "What?"
And he had a revolver in his hand.
I feel like, on top of everything else, the creator of the show just kind of fucks with you a little.
And
bit.
you have to laugh and go, "Was he serious?"
Part of his sense of humor. I mean, his running catchphrase, you walk past in the hallways, still with the show. He just likes to break the tension. And between dress and air, he still gives a speech to everyone, and kind of, we're going on the air show, and it wasn't a really good dress. And it's like, it'd be really good if this show was like funny rather than not funny, because we have a 2-week break and you're going to meet a lot of your relatives, and all they'll remember is this show. Now go. But then it makes me laugh.
Yeah. Or you say, we had a 2-week break, you're back, and it shows. You took too much time off. We got to get back.
Great. Thanks, coach.
Yeah. Anyway, let's do a great show. Get him.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you were an athlete and stuff. You could have a coach who was effusive all the time. So I went to state school. And then ones who just in a rare blue moon would give you a compliment or give you a little nudge, and it meant a lot more,
yeah. No joke. Yes.
So what was the sport you were best at? I know you played football, and you also...
I walked on to the University of Washington football team. So I was way out of my league. Talk about being, could not have been worse. But they kept me on because I was really good at skit night, and they loved me on skit night. So I became like a mascot. But that was the most terrifying I'd ever been a part of, but at the same time, most fun. But if I had to pick, I was a good basketball player, and I was a pitcher my freshman year of high school, and I quit that. But I guess
triple threat.
I played darts. I mean, I played I like to blame my ADHD, but I just wanted to chase a ball or throw something, as that's all I wanted to do as a child. But now, all I do is play tennis. Good. I remember playing freshman year of football in high school, and the coach was like, "See those guys playing tennis? They're all training to be old men." And he was like, "And we can play football." And everyone's like, "Yeah." And now I'm like, "Hey, probably should have stuck with tennis."
Yeah,
that would have been a little bit better. But I if I don't exercise, ask my wife, I get very agitated, and I think it's my best form of therapy, that and red wine. I now have this relationship with the University of Washington where it's been because of like being in Hollywood, they've not because of the records I set. I get to kind of do team events sometimes. And now I'm still friends with a lot of the players, but from the old guys. So I'm like, I can't believe my good fortune. Like they didn't kill me. But our coach, Don James, who was not a yeller in any way, he was always quiet. And even in practice, he kind of stood in this booth and directed things like a conductor very quietly. And when he would say something like he would be literally just go, "That was good." I'd be like, Coach James thought I was good. And, but yeah, we are also, so he was, continues to be one of the most legendary coaches of all college football. And, I can't. And then when I saw him years later, I was like, "Hey, coach." And he was like, "Oh, hey." And I was like, "You remember?" And because the walk-on programs at these colleges we were cannon fodder to make the scholarship players,
look better.
Keep them. Yes. Basically keep them in shape. That's my winded.
We got a clip
explanation.
I love hearing about that. I was tracking, distance running in high school, and we do intervals. You sprint a lap around the track, rest for a minute, sprint a lap. But the 8th one, which was the last one, the coach would always say, "Gentlemen, blood, gut, and hair." And we never knew what the hair part, we just thought blood and guts, but blood, gut, and hair. And
did your hair fall out? You're so stressed?
No, I don't know what it meant to this day. I'm asking, and you guys don't know, so clearly still haven't figured it out. Lauren Lansbury was his name. He was a brilliant coach, trained the shit out of us.
I remember in Blair Witch Project when they just found the teeth in the hair, and that was more terrifying than finding a hand.
Yeah.
I think that's a good connection. Yeah. It worked. I mean, we just got scared when we heard that. But anyway.
Dane, anything left for Joel?
Wait, David, did you play sports?
Joel, listen. I'm not on trial here. No, I was a skateboarder. I did play baseball. I did play all of them, baseball, basketball, and football, until it got too rough. Like, I think I was good enough in baseball till sophomore year in high school. I got cut, never went back. Football, I tried out sophomore year, got annihilated, and the coach treated me like I was Lucas and said, maybe this isn't for you. And then basketball, you could figure that one out. It was fun to play like intramural stuff, and then I wasn't bad. It just, at a certain point, you're not going to do anything.
Did you?
I was probably as good as Bronny.
Wait.
Oh, I root for Bronny. Come on, man.
Take the other side.
Anybody
who's Bronny?
LeBron
James' son.
I see. Yes.
I root for.
David, did you see that? It came out like 5 years ago. They studied skateboarders and about how it teaches independence, because you're teaching yourself something a lot of the time.
Oh.
And it's not really a team, but it teaches true independence and to be out on your own and to be aware of your surroundings.
Well, it's a good game to do on your own. Like when you just get your skateboard in Arizona, I'd skate around. You don't need to find a football game. You don't need to find someone to play basketball with. You just go, "Hey, I'm going to go skate," and then you go to a pool or somewhere, and there's other dirt balls there, and you just skate around. So it's kind of fun. And my parents are gone in the day, so I would just skate and try to get better. But I did really like it. It was definitely a skater mentality, a bunch of dudes that were doing that. And some were burnouts and stuff, but we weren't going to be in the football team. So there's different factions, Yeah. And I was a skater, but I'm glad you brought that up, because it's good on the quads. That's the reason I have good quads. That's why I don't show them a lot, because people would go fucking nuts.
So you're still maintaining them then, somehow.
If we ever do this again, we're gonna have to talk about truck restoration, David.
Oh yeah, that's right. Right.
Dana, we have a mutual truck restorer, right. Brian Corsetti, who
I'm into Land Cruisers. Near the Scouts.
Well, Scout, I have Land Cruisers as well.
Oh,
because
you
I'm
fucking rich
yeah.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
truck specific or SUVs?
Scouts look cool, dude.
I have an International Scout and a 1970 Land Cruiser and a 1990 Land Cruiser.
Cool, all the way. I like all of them.
All look cool.
I'm looking at
Scout.
70s trucks now. That's all my Instagram feed.
That's me too.
Along
Come on,
with
are you guys going to get a
boobs.
Tesla truck? I mean, come on, man.
Come on, man.
lives.
Oh no, they're so cool looking. They don't look like they're from that video game Dig Dug at all.
You gonna get a Dig Dug truck? No,
I'm worried
I
cut
love
myself.
Elon. I think they're working out the bugs though. I'm not ready for a Tesla truck. Plus, I'm too punsy. They're fucking magnanimous. I saw one the other day. I walked by it. It's like a tank.
Well,
I would
go ahead.
Yeah, Land
No,
Cruiser's
I
big.
would valet in one of those and just they'd say name on for the car, and I'd say I'm Batman and go right into Coy.
You're not going to get in the Beverly Center with
I mean,
that.
doesn't
big
it seem
thing.
like it's a Batman vehicle? I mean,
It's pretty cool. I've seen them blacked out.
I would worry the valet would accidentally impale himself on one of the corners and sue you because they're like, "What happened? I bled out from."
I know they come with Bactine. Thank God. Bactine is back. All right, thanks, Joel.
Liquid bandwidth. Thank you for having me.
You're a good
and
dude.
I held back on saying how giddy I was to talk to you guys because you're my heroes. So that's it. Okay, I'm leaving.
we worked.
Thank you, buddy.
We worked on things. We've seen you around. So just
You got no idea how excited I was to do this. And my wife was like, "Well, that's a good one." And I was like, "Wait, it's not like the other ones are bad." And she was like, "Oh,
yeah, they are."
She said, "Please say hi."
That's
and
nice.
she's never met you.
Say
That's
hello
awesome.
and thanks, buddy. I'll see you around.
Thanks, Joel. Animal
for having
Control.
Animal
everybody.
Control. This has been a presentation of Audacy. Please follow, subscribe, leave a like, a review, all the stuff. Smash that button, whatever it is, wherever you get your podcasts. Fly on the Wall is executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade, Jenna Weiss Berman of Audacy, and Heather Santoro. The show's lead producer is Greg Holtzman.